It's January! Woo! What is up, Flick fans? Welcome back to my channel, and I just saw The Grudge, the 2020 Grudge. We're going to talk about it today. I need you in the comments down below. Have you seen this movie? The remake, this one, not the old one. And did you like it? All right. So a house is cursed by a vengeful ghost that dooms those who enter it with a violent death. So, it's really hard to judge 2020 after two films, but so far, it's not off to a hot start. I was not a fan of this film. And not to say that there weren't things in there that actually surprised me. I am not huge on The Grudge in general. I don't hate the other movies. I think they're absolutely fine. Some really good scares within there. And there is an affinity, a love for the original Japanese film. A lot of really good things about this franchise, right? But then a lot of things that once you dive into it fall into the conventional and cliche category. And one thing I was afraid this film in particular was going to be is mediocre / forgettable. Just average. One that you walk out and you never really think about again. Now, fortunately for the movie's case, I guess, is I did think about it a bit just because there were some things about it where I'm like, oh, that's actually surprising me right now. You're listening to the score. It is a haunting score. And the sense of atmosphere in this film was genuinely good, right? Nicolas Pesce, who directed and co-wrote this film, did a nice job at, like I said, building up atmosphere, but also gave you that feeling that you want walking out of a horror film. You feel icky, kind of disturbed, and I think a lot of it has to do with the imagery that was showcased here. Some nice practical effects, some moments that did not scare me, but some moments that definitely got under my skin. Do they go the cheap route of building up to jump scares? Very, very conventional jump scares. Absolutely. Is the acting the best in this film? No. I don't think this director is an actor's director, or at least he didn't showcase that in this movie. There are a few performances in there that you expect to be good, and they are good. Lin Shaye. She pops up in a horror movie, it feels like, every single year. I love anytime she is in any kind of movie that is close to this genre. Even if I don't love the film, I always love her performance. She's great. John Cho, we know what John Cho does. Don't know why he signed on to this film, but you know what? He did, and he actually elevated it just a bit. And Betty Gilpin, who played John Cho's wife in this film, gave a genuinely heartfelt and emotional performance. Unfortunately, all of the things that I just talked about, they're just overshadowed by the fact that this movie is so mediocre when it comes to the script and the filmmaking, and it is so cliche and exposition-ridden that I couldn't think about what was happening on screen. I could not appreciate the imagery that it was giving me because I was just so frustrated with every piece of dialogue coming out of these characters' mouths, man. Oh my goodness. If there is a horror movie coming out in 2020 that is going to make you sit back and go, well, that's another studio horror film. And it's not even the fact that they're completely overusing and overdoing the tropes that make horror movies that I just don't like nowadays what they are, what this ends up being. It's certain character decisions and not acting real in moments that call for it, just completely and utterly off performances at moments. And I don't even blame the actors for this. I blame the script, what they were given, and I blame the director just a bit for not pushing them in the direction that I think they needed to be pushed in. I'm going to try to refrain from major spoilers here, but there is a scene in the film where there's a woman covered in blood, and she looks horrifying, slowly walks towards our main character screaming, and our main character just goes, ma'am, I'd like to ask you a few questions. I'm just like, how are you this calm? At least give me some frantic energy here. I'd be like, Jesus Christ! And there are multiple scenes where characters just aren't freaked out, or as much as they should be, by what's happening right in front of them. John Cho encounters this just weird-looking little girl that comes out of nowhere. There's no door slam, no explanation for how she got there, but he just turns around and goes, hi there, how you doing? And she's just sitting there like, hello. And it's moments like that we get throughout the entire film where characters are just making the dumbest decisions, and then exposition constantly, especially the first 30 minutes where really nothing happens except for the characters telling us things, that we could figure out on our own. She's having a conversation with her son, and right in the middle of the conversation, I'm going to keep you safe, and it means more because I'm a police officer, where we could have just waited, 3 minutes to show her being a police officer instead of her adding in that line for no reason whatsoever other than to tell us that, hey, I'm a police officer, and so many moments throughout the film that just frustrate you as a viewer. And I said certain actors were really good, and then other actors, and I'm not going to say who, but just they weren't up to par for what this film was trying to do. I appreciate the fact that they were trying to structure it in a different way. This narrative is not just one coherent story from beginning to end. They're throwing in different stories from different times as we are following our main character trying to figure these things out. And I like the fact that they tried, but it all comes down to execution, and this was one of the most sloppy and boring, flat, dull movies I've experienced in quite some time. This is the reason why studio horror movies frustrate me to no end. Now, every now and then we get a good one, so I'm not saying this is the case for all of them, but for the 2020 Grudge film, it just did not work. So thank you guys so much for joining me in all of this positivity. If you enjoy this channel, if you like these reviews, be sure to smash that thumbs up button, and I will definitely try to watch every single movie every weekend this year. As for The Grudge, I want to go 28%. I mean, other than some nice atmosphere, John Cho, Lin Shaye, Betty Gilpin, that's about it. That's about all I enjoyed from this film. It was just, it was a slog to get through, and it was only 90 minutes. So that is not a good sign for what's to come. But okay, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I would love to hear your thoughts. Let me know. Maybe you like this movie more than I did. That's absolutely okay. The fact that you're joining me and starting some conversation down below is more than okay to make up for that. You guys are truly the best. Thank you for watching. I'll be back soon.